Hi everyone, welcome to my Facebook March free virtual card class for orders placed with me in the month of February. I am so glad you are here with me today. Even though you probably don't have your kits yet. Those got out later than usual and you should have received an email from me. But I hope you spend some time watching me put these cards together today. So I am sorry I'm hopping on. It's only about a minute late, which praise God, I thought I was going to be super duper late getting on here. So just quickly, what happened this morning is I got up, I got my coffee, I went to turn on my computer, my laptop, and it had shut down overnight. I don't know if there was an update or what had happened, but it would not come back up. When I tried to load it, it was just a black flashing screen. Oh my gosh, I think I almost had a heart attack. And so what I ended up having to do, and I'm really not sure why it happened, hi Sharon, is I went in and deleted a bunch of old files and pictures, and it took forever because I had to do it between the flashing screen and try to catch the right file that I wanted. Oh my gosh. And eventually the flashing stopped. So I'm thinking there's just too much stuff maybe in the memory, which is freaking me out a little bit because I'm leaving for Stampin' Up's onstage convention and I need to take my laptop with me. So the rest of the day will probably be spent trying to clean it up and hoping that it'll work once we get on the road. So anyway, I am here through all of that. I'm sorry, but I had to tell you what was going on because of that, I am frazzled. I didn't get the recipes done to post yet, any of that, but I'm here. So welcome. It is Monday, March 10th, 2025. I am so happy to be here with you, really. My name is Maureen Rolfes, also known as the Crazy Stamping Lady. I have been an independent Stampin' Up! See, I'm still a little frazzled. Independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator for over 28 years. And I love what I do. What you do too. I love what you do. I love what I do. If you're hopping on, please say hi. And if you watch the replay, let me know that too. I am coming to you from a sunny and slightly warm Murfreesboro, Tennessee. So no complaints on the weather. Everybody is welcome to join me today for this class and see the cute little projects that we put together. These were sent to you free if you ordered from me in the month of March and your order, it was over $50. The kit levels change. So at $50, you get 3 card kits. Hi, Karen. Hi, Shar. At $75, you get the card kits and a bonus project. And at $100, you get the card kits, a bonus project, and a half a pack of some embellishment. So yeah, you can add to your stash. So again, you are all welcome to watch. Usually people can craft along with me, but again, because the kits got out late, you probably don't have them yet. But this video will stay here for 30 days. That's the new Facebook rule. So for the next 30 days, you can pop on and watch it here and put your cards together. Oh, good. Your kits are going to be there today. That is wonderful, Shar. That is fast. I'm really happy to hear that. As always, please be free to share this video. This is on my open page, so you can share it to anyone that helps get me exposure I wouldn't else have gotten, so I appreciate that. It's open for anyone to watch, and yeah, I think that's about it. So frazzled or not, here we go. I'm going to turn you around and then take you down to my table. So here is my information. This is Maureen Rolfes, the Crazy Stamping Lady. My blog is crazystampinglady.blogspot.com. My email is crazystampinglady@gmail.com. My Facebook is Facebook. Oh, I got junk on here. I probably should move. You don't need to see my notes of what I have to do today, even though they are tremendously long. My Facebook is facebook.com/Crazy Stamping Lady. My YouTube is under my name, Maureen Rolfes, and you can shop with me at Stampin' Up Maureen, stampinup.net. If you're shopping with me in the month of March, I would appreciate it if you use this hostess code. This hostess code gets me the most benefits for your order, and it helps me give giveaways like these free kits that we're demonstrating today. If your order is over $150 in pre-shipping and handling and tax, then don't use the code because you will earn hostess rewards of your own. I'm not going to go through much of anything else today, just the kit so that we can get this done because I am a little worried about my computer. But so far, fingers crossed, it is staying up and looking good. So let's get right to card kit number 1. This is the first card that we're making right here with this beautiful little birdie on it. So realize that most of my kits are made with retired product. It's a great way for me to use up some of that and get you a free kit. The products are new and beautiful, so it doesn't matter that they're retired. I'm sure you have a ton of retired stuff in your stash, and you can always recreate them with new product. As I said, all morning I've been struggling with my computer, so I didn't get a chance to pull out every single thing that goes with these, or the names of everything, or the recipes. I'll try to get those done today and posted in the comments, but I do apologize for that. So your kits may contain different paper than this one. I always try to use at least 2 different ones if I do that, so you can see there's the possibility yours might be exactly the same. But in your kit, you are going to have a basic white A2. Oh, I actually have 2 of them in this envelope and I only need 1. Basic white A2 card base. Okay, that's going to open. It's going to stand vertically and open from the side. You're going to have a layer of basic black that is 4 inches by 5 1/4. And out of the middle of that, I die cut a layer for your card. Let me see if I can pick it up here. So these were cut out with the, again, I don't even know all the names of these things. I'll have to look them up and put that out in the recipe for you. You probably have these and I should know them, but being frazzled, my brain doesn't work as well as usual. So, but I die cut that right out of there. Not a problem because we are going to totally cover this up. So just be aware of that. I also die cut a smaller layer with the same dies of basic white. I gave you a little bow pre-tied. Whoops, it's sticking to my embellishments right there. So there is the little bow that I have in this kit. This bow was from the Celebration seam binding ribbon that I stocked up on. So you will probably see it again in the future on kits because I love it whenever we have seam binding ribbon. They are one of my favorites to work with. They tie so beautifully. I just love them. They have that crinkly kind of vintagey look to them. So this is the ribbon that your bow is tied out of. No longer available through Celebration, though I'm sure you'll be able to find it out on one of the sites. Someone's going to be selling them, so if you love it as much as me. We have a layer of Designer Series paper. These come from different retired papers because I didn't have enough this month of one type of set. But they're all going to have just kind of a muted tone background that'll go perfect with your little sentiment and birds. This one's beautiful on the back. It was from that bird paper, but we're going to be using this side of it on my card. And then everyone should have a little fussy cut bird. Now, all of the birds are different. I cut them out of the paper. There's, I think, maybe like 9 different kinds. So you could get one facing to the left. You could get one facing to the right. We're going to change the card up just slightly if it's facing to the left. So be aware of that. And then 3 little sequin gems also. And these gems are mostly from, if not all, from another Celebration item. This was the purple adhesive back sequins, and I also stocked up on those, so you'll probably see those coming again. Although yours may change color because I changed them according to what the colors on your paper were. Alrighty, let's put this together. Super duper simple as usual. We're going to take the basic black layer and put some seal in the corners, right around where that image is cut out. Place that on the front of our card centered. take your designer series paper. Now, honestly, if you did get the bird one, on this one it was a different background, but if you did, you probably could use the bird background on this card, layer this, and put your bird with it. So I'll leave that up to you. The ones who didn't get paper from the bird one are going to want to be sure to use the more neutral side. But I'm going to cover up my sweet little birds and use the neutral side since that's what most of you will be doing. Lay this onto our basic black with a border around. I just keep watching my screen here because I'm so afraid it's going to die on me. But so far, so good. We're going to take the larger layer of basic black cardstock that I cut out, and we're going to just put this on to the card front. So I'm going to come down maybe an inch from the top and then leave an even border on each side and place that. Just like, well, a little not so straight, so let's see if I can fix that up. Again, until you really push down on the seal, especially right away, you can usually pick it back up. So let's see if I can get that just a tiny bit straighter on here. So you do have some wiggle room on this too, in that you could move it down further to the bottom, put it right in the middle. Boy, that still looks crooked. Maybe it's just my eyes this morning. We're going to go with it. It's going to be fine. I'm not going to worry about it because you're putting your kits together and you're going to make them straighter than me, right? Okay. So let's grab our Memento Black ink, and I'm going to use the sentiment that says, hope is a beautiful thing that flutters in the soul. I just liked it because of thinking of a fluttering bird wings. I thought that was a perfect sentiment for this. And this is from the Sketched Butterfly stamp set right here. So that is the sentiment that we are using on here. Of course, I can't stamp yours. So you're going to find a sentiment that works for you, and it could be anything. It doesn't have to be about hope. It could be a birthday, a thinking of you. Now, on this card, I did put my sentiment to the right and my bird to the left. I'm going to reverse that because of the way this bird is looking. So I'm going to put this sentiment to the left, just like that. And then when we place our bird on here, he's going to be looking toward the sentiment. So let's turn this over, get some seal on here. I'm also struggling with this daylight savings time changes back and forth. Whenever we change the clocks, I feel like it takes me forever to get my act together again. And maybe that's something that messed up on my computer. I don't know. I don't understand it at all, but I got to figure it out. Okay, so now we're going to take our bird. I didn't pop my bird up on dimensionals, though you certainly could. You do like to have a little dimension on your cards, but because my bow is on there and that gives it some dimension, I didn't worry about popping my bird up. And then you're just going to place your bird wherever you like it to the side of your sentiment. I'm going to take the little bow that I made and some glue dots. And remember, you always have to have your own sentiments, your own ink pads, and your own adhesives for these. I don't do adhesives because I just know people like certain things and they craft certain ways. And I don't do the stamping because it's against Stampin' Up! Policy. So we're just going to come in here and I'm going to place this bow down here. So again, on my other card, I posted it over here to the right. On this one, I'm coming in over here to the left. I might need to move it about. No, I think it'll be okay. Covers that sentiment tiny teensy bit. I probably should have put it down more, but we're going to not worry about it. Again, you do better on your card and you will be fine. And then you're going to have 3 gems that you can place onto your card. You could have 2 large and 1 small, or 2 small and 1 large. I just use them the best I can when I put your kits together. So, and I'm going to place, let's see, I think I'm going to place this large one over here to the side, and one of the smaller ones right up here next to it. And then the 3rd smaller one, I'm going to come off on this one. Let's see, maybe not. Maybe Where do we want this, guys? Ta-da-ta-da-ta-ta. I think I'm going to put it like I did on the other card, only the reverse. That just seems the best. Okay, so this is the card. Now I put my same sentiment on the envelope, which you certainly can do. But this is the card I just made. This is my preview one from earlier when I was putting them together. Yours could be totally different than either of these, but the same kind of rules of placement are going to apply. So card number 1 is done. I'm gonna move it over to the side. Again, when I do these cards, they are quick and easy. I want them easily reproducible so that you guys can make them with whatever you have to add. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee, so bear with me just a second because my throat is a little scratchy. And I always have my nice warm coffee handy, so yay. Okay, card number 2, you guys. Get ready. So this card is totally cased from another demonstrator. I found it on Pinterest and I loved it so much that I basically reproduced it 95% as hers was. So that demonstrator is Peggy Merwin, M-U-R-W-I-N, if you want to look her up. But I really appreciate her coming up with this beautiful design. And so for this card, again, I don't have all the product names because I didn't pull everything out, but this is Retired Designer Series paper. And then I use the Arch, the new Arch online exclusive dies to cut out that arch. So in your kit, you are going to have a basic white envelope. I'm a little worried here, only tiny teensy worried because I don't see my bird. I hope you all have a bird in your kit. You're supposed to. You're going to have a A2 base of Night of Navy, but this one opens from the bottom. I'm going to look in here to see if that birdie is in there. Nope, I think I put them all in. I might not have pulled one off for me because I wasn't sure at the time if I had enough, but I have one here to use. So you're going to have a piece of basic white that is 4 inches by 5 1/4 for the inside of your card because it is such a dark color. You're going to have 3 pieces. Oh, there's my bird. I did have one in there. Yay, Maureen, didn't forget. You're going to have 3 pieces of the Designer Series paper. Now, these pieces, your design may vary. So I used several ones out of the packet of paper. So yours might vary just a little bit, but try to get them in the right order. So lay them out on your paper. In fact, that might not even be the right order. Let's see if that is. That is. So just put them together like a puzzle. Make sure they're in the right order from left to right before you add them to your card base. You're going to have your arch cut out of a piece of Night of Navy also. You are going to have a piece of twine, of linen, no twine, I guess it's twine, tied into a bow. So for the card we're doing today, my twine is black because the colors are super deep on here and there was no tan on this image of paper. But for some of you, if you had any of the lighter tans and stuff, your bow is going to be out of the kind of tan color on here. So be aware of that. It could be actually the taupe. Maybe it's the taupe I used. It could be taupe, it could be black, depending upon what your papers are. Both of them are fine. And this is the Baker's Twine Essential Pack, which I love and use, and I think I have a backup pack when this one's gone. So it has vanilla, kind of a taupey color or gray, white, a beigey color, and black all in there, which is great. A wonderful assortment. So we're going to put this together. A couple tips I'll give you as we go. First thing I want to do is just come in here with my inside sentiment piece. Now you could stamp a coordinating sentiment on here if you wanted to. I don't know if I stamped any on my first sample. Nope, I just left it blank. But I probably will add something when I'm ready to send it. We're going to put this in here, depending upon what it is. It could be a sympathy. It could just be thinking of you. It could actually turn into a birthday card. So depending upon what I need it for, I may change that sentiment up on the inside. We're going to take our 3 pieces in the correct order of our designer series paper, and we're going to add them to the front of our card. So I'm just going to lay them on here to kind of show you the placement. What we want is the 3 pieces with a slight section of blue between them and approximately even borders on each side, if that makes sense. So by laying them on there, it gives me a pretty good idea. And then also top and bottom, pretty even. So I'm just going to take 1 stripe of the seal on my first one and placing this on here. So top to bottom is pretty even, and my side border is pretty much what I just laid out there a second ago. I would say, maybe let me measure it, maybe that'll give you a better idea. You're going to probably come in about a 1/2 inch from the side of your base, and maybe a little under, like 3/8 of an inch at the top and bottom, just if you're into measuring and you want to measure. Now I'm going to do my middle one last. I almost always do this because it just helps me for placement, because that one then can kind of wiggle in between the other 2. So we're going to come in over here, and I'm going to try to do the same height and about the same edging on it, and pretty straight like that. And then we're going to take our 3rd piece and add it in the middle. I just find that works the best for me when I'm putting images like this together. Now this one I can just center between those other 2 to get my lines here. So hope that makes sense. It's not really difficult. You just take a second to try to make sure they're evenly spaced where you want them. Then you're going to take your arch and some dimensionals. Well, I don't want to use my minis. Let me grab some regular ones here. And I'm going to place some dimensionals on here. So I'm going to come down in the corner at the bottom, and the regular dimensionals work great. They fit there perfectly. And then I'm going to come up at the top, but for this one I'm going to do it a little bit closer to the arch than the corner, just because I want that arch to stand up nicely and frame that artwork that we just placed in there. I think I probably used the wrong side of that. I did, but that's okay. It'll still look lovely. I don't sweat the small stuff. There's too much big stuff in the world, so I don't sweat the small stuff. And then you're going to come in and place this. Now this is only going to be a normal layer size up from the bottom. So it's like 1/8 of an inch. So all I'm going to do is come in here and lay this evenly. So I'm just laying that very bottom corner down straight across and even, just a little up from the bottom, and then gently laying the arch down so that it frames my picture like that. Look how pretty that is. What a simple design. And I just love it. I love how it showcases that artwork in there like you're looking through a window or an arched door. So, so pretty. And then you should have a piece of basic white. Now this basic white was cut out of the Labeled with Love die and then fed back in so that one edge is straight on it. And mine doesn't look super straight, so I'm going to take my scissors and just straighten it a little more. You could do that on your paper cutter if it doesn't seem really straight. And we're going to use this for our sentiment, and it's going to get placed over here to the edge like that. So for this sentiment on here, I am using, again, I think the same set. Did I do that? Yep, the same set, the Sketch Butterflies, and I'm going to use the Thinking of You out of here. Gorgeous, gorgeous sentiments in this set, as well as gorgeous butterflies, so it's a great set. I'm still not really straight. I'm a little wonky all over the place today, guys. Sorry for the wonkiness. I am stressing a little bit about this convention now, especially that my laptop might not be working. Oh, Oklahoma. So for this, I am going to use Basic Black again. Now on my prototype, I used Night of Navy, but I know most of you might not have all the colors, so I'm just going to use basic black to show you that will work just fine. I'm going to ink this up, the Thinking of You, and place it onto my little sentiment layer, and I'm just kind of centering it on here, just like that. Put our lid back on. And then to add this to my base, I am going to take a dimensional on the left end, or you could put a couple of them if that's easier for you to make sure it really sticks. And then on the right end, did I say a dimensional? I put a glue dot on the left end. And on the right end, I'm going to place a dimensional. And that's because the right end is going to go inside of this arc, and the blue end, or the left end, is going to go up on top of the blue, and I want it to lay pretty even. So that's the best way to make that happen. I'm going to come in here, and I'm just going over to the edge of that arc frame on there and placing that down. Then I'm going to take my little bird. Now your little birds could go one of two directions. They can be facing up like this one is on here, or facing down like the one is on here. So just be aware you could have one or the other. And I'm going to decide what I want to do with this bow first before I add my bird. So yeah, I think I'm going to do that. So I'm going to put this little bird, because he's flying upward, I'm going to bring him down here on the side and place him right here next to my Thinking of You. So he's kind of pointing up to that sentiment. On this one, he was coming down, so I pointed him coming down toward the sentiment. And then we're going to add our bow, and for that, I'm just going to use some Tombow. I'm going to place a dot of it right here onto my layer. Come in here with my little pre-tied bow and lay the knot right on top of there. And then to hold that to make sure it adheres, I would just lay my block on there for a second. So that is the second card. Again, I stamped the sentiment on the envelope, which you certainly can do on yours. And I didn't put anything in the middle of this one just because I haven't decided for sure what it's going to be for. But there is our second card. Yours, again, could have a totally different inside, but I think you either have one of these two bows and one of these two birds. So pretty, pretty lovely card. I love it. And I will probably, honestly, be making at least one into a sympathy card because I need one. So there we go. I'm going to move those to the side. That is card number 2. Oh, and the birds come from the adhesive-backed Dragonflies and Birds. And these are an online exclusive. They are still available. These are my last 3, so I purchased another pack just yesterday, and they'll be coming. But I love them. They also have the Dragonflies, which we've used on some other cards. So gorgeous, gorgeous. Those are current. Okay, our third card is a Happy Easter card on my end. Of course, it'll be whatever sentiment you add to yours on your end. But let's pull it out. Here it is. And I have the Easter greetings on my envelope. So for this card, I fussy cut the leaves and the tulips out of this paper. And I can't remember the name of it. I wish I did. I have a ton of it left, and I have it in the other room, but like I said, I didn't have time to go back and look at all of the different names of things for you today. But that's okay. We can still do the card. And then for the coordinating layers on your card, I took it out of a completely different Designer Series paper pack, but I thought it looked just perfect. These were another package that I don't remember the name of, but so pretty with those flowers on the back. And I had plenty of it to cut. So this month with my mystery kits, I had a ton of these kits to put together. So I really had to find Designer Series paper that I had enough of to work with, and that's what I did. So let me grab this one. So for this one, you have a layer card base. If I can get it out of here. Make sure I got all the little pieces because there's a bunch of them in there. I have a card base of basic white. A2 base. It's going to be vertical and open to the right. I have a layer of basic white. And this is 5 inches by, is that right? Let me look. I'm just going to measure it to be sure. Yep. 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches. And this was run through the cut and emboss machine using the Dashing Designs 3D embossing folder, which is still currently available. And this Dashing Designs is beautiful either way. So just be aware of that. The parts that are indented on one side are going to be raised up on the other, but they both look great. So you decide the side that you like better. Okay. Also in your kit, you're going to have a layer of the Designer Series paper as well as a strip of it. Now the strips of it may or may not have the stripes on, but they still coordinate and match, so don't freak out about that. You're going to have a piece of basic white that your little flower is going to go on, a piece of basic white for your sentiment, and then 3 sequins. They're all going to be different, guys. I pulled out sequins that match and coordinate with the card that you're making. So some of them are going to be round, some of them are going to be flowers. They're going to be all different colors depending upon the color of tulip you got, but your card's going to come together the same exact way. So let's do that. We're going to add this embossed layer, choosing the side that you like. Now this is a 3D embossed, so it does curve it a little bit, makes it a little curly Q on the edges. So I am going to try to go along all 4 sides of my layer completely with my seal to help it lay down flat onto my card. And this is going to get centered, and again it's like 2 layers upside or downside, so you're going to have a little bit larger border around the edge for this white on white card, which I think is perfect for spring and Easter. Okay. Then you're going to have your piece of Designer Series paper, and on top of that you're going to add your basic white rectangle, the larger one, centered on there, so it's going to have a little bit of that border around the edge. Just like that. And then on this piece, you're going to build your little tulip. So your tulip is going to be whatever color you happened to get, as well as a leaf. And to me, the leaves go off to the left side. Now, it could go to the right, like that, but I don't think it lays as well. So I'm putting all of mine that I'm making on the left side. And the way I'm attaching it is just taking a glue dot on the front of this piece at the very bottom of the design, just like that, and then sticking it behind my tulip, just so it sticks out on the side like that. And then I'm going to put this whole thing onto my card. So I'm going to add some seal on both pieces, making sure some of it's on the leaf and some is on the flower so it stays on well. I'm going to give it a pretty even border, top and bottom and on each side, just like that. And then I'm going to pop this entire thing up on dimensionals. So 4 dimensionals, 1 in each corner should work for this. It's just another tip to remember that you can combine your Designer Series papers. A lot of times papers from 2 different kits will work well together, and I think we get so stuck on using just what's in one sometimes, but I try to use up everything that I have, and so I combine. We're going to place this probably a 1/2 inch down from the top of the embossed layer and centering it side to side right on the front of our card like that. I'm going to stamp my sentiment. So on this one, like I said, I'm making these into Easter cards, and I do have my sentiment. Here it is. It says Easter greetings, and this is from the Storybook Friends set right here. Again, another adorable set, but some really great sentiments are in here. So look for the sentiments that work for you, because again, I cannot do the stamping for you on these cards. I'm just going to stamp this centered onto this other layer, like that. We're going to take some seal, and I'm going to run it horizontally right on the back of this piece right here. And then I'm going to put this strip of green behind it. So a lot of times I use my grid because it just really helps me get that straight and kind of even onto my sentiment. I can measure that it's got a 1/2 inch over here and a 1/2 inch over here. Do what works for you. Eyeball it if you're great at that, but that is a little tip when you're putting things like this together. We're going to pop this also up on some dimensionals. So let me grab those. And for this one, I think I'm going to just do 3, just kind of staggering them like that. And we're going to add this below our tulips onto the bottom of our card. Do not expect anything to be straight from me today because my brain must be a little crooked. So there we go. Okay, and then I'm going to add my sequins. So whatever sequins you have, like I said, some may be flowers, some may be circles. I'm going to place one up here above my tulip. I think flowers are great for this time of year, so it works. And the circle ones always work, right? And then one more. And this one I'm going to place right down here. So that forms my little triangle there. So again, I did stamp that same sentiment on the envelope. And there we go. That is card number 3 in your kit this month, guys. I hope you liked it. It doesn't have to be Easter. It could say hello friend. It could be thinking of you again. It is very, very generic in nature. But I always associate tulips with Easter. So for me, that was a fun go-to, and now I have some of my Easter cards done. So, moving that out of the way. Okay, so that's what you would have gotten with a $50 purchase this month. For those of you who purchased $75 worth of merchandise from me in one order, and you just get one kit based on your largest order of the month, we're going to make these cute little tall treat boxes that you could use for spring or Easter or anytime you want. They hold chapstick really well. They can hold candy in here. I was trying to think of some other things I saw a lady putting in. Oh, for her team members, she put like the little sand erasers and stuck them in here. Basically anything that'll fit, go ahead and put it in as a little gift. Now your papers all were from this kind of foliage pottery set. They vary on the different ones that you received, but I used up every piece of it that I had that I could find. So for my sample, I'm using a different color, and I'm going to show you completely how this little box was made. And then when I do the recipe, I'll also have a template for cutting it out and scoring it that you'll get to see on there. I'll do my best to get those done today, guys. Life is pretty crazy with getting ready to leave for on stage, but I think I can do it. So for this one, I just have a completely different piece of paper, which shows you that almost any designer series paper will work. You just want to be careful if your pattern has a right or wrong image that your scoring makes the bottom flaps at the bottom. So on all of yours, they're pre-scored. You will need to do some cutting on them. So let me get this ready and show you how it comes together and score it. I'm going to grab my cutter here, which is kind of hiding on me, but I can do it. And we're going to cut these papers down. So this was 6 by 6. I'm going to cut it down to 5.5 by 5.5. So if you're using 6 by 6 papers, you do not have a lot of waste if you make this size of little box. You could make a ton of them. And all we're cutting off are these strips. Now these strips are great to keep because you could use them on a scrappy card if you were making it. You could use these for a layer underneath a sentiment, just like we did on that last card. Or you could even use them to decorate your box. You could flip the color and put the other color on and have a rim around it. So don't throw these away. Anytime I have a 1/2-inch strip, I hang on to them because there's so many great uses for them. So I'm just going to put those down here with my DSP Scrappy Scraps. Now I'm going to grab my scorer. So you guys all know on the paper cutters, we have a cutting blade that is dark and a scoring blade that is light. But I am fortunate enough to own 2 of these. So I just keep one for cutting and one for scoring, which for me makes it a lot less likely that I'm going to mess up on that. So here's my same one, but this one has the scoring blade in it. If you purchase them from Stampin' Up, you're going to have one cutter, both blades, so be aware of that. So we're now going to score this, and it doesn't really matter what side you score on it, except if your paper does have a right or wrong. Then when you do your final scoring, I'll show you in a minute, you want to be sure you're doing that at the bottom so your design goes correctly. So we're going to score this at 1 1/4. And I don't have a right or wrong design on here. So if you did have a design that had a right way to go, you're going to want to be sure when you're doing this scoring that you're scoring along the bottom of your paper so that your lines are going with your design up and down, okay? So we're scoring this at 1 1/4, at 2 1/2, at 3 3/4, and at 5. And actually for 5, I'm going to take it up to the top because my 5 marker, I actually put a thing there. Never mind. I remember now. I put a little ruler down here because the 5 marker isn't down here because of the swinging arm. It is at the top. So a lot of times I will score on this edge, but I did put this little strip of ruler on there, just cut from one of our pieces of paper, the placemats that we put down. And so I'm going to bring this over to the 5 mark right here. I made sure I measured it so it was at the correct location, and I'm going to score this. Okay, so those are your vertical scores. And then if you are having your paper with directional and your design's going this way, you want to turn this counterclockwise because you want this last score line to be along the bottom edge. So my last score line is going to be at, gotta remember, make sure I got it right, at 1 1/8. So I'm gonna come in here. And I'm using the right hand ruler on here at 1 1/8. Of course, you could have flipped it the other way and gone in at 1 1/8. You just want to be sure that that 1 1/8 is coming up from the bottom of your design so that your design is going up and down this way. Hope that makes sense to you. It's just a little thing to think about so that you don't waste DSP going the wrong direction. Okay, so I pre-folded all of yours. I just gently folded them so those score lines would stay in place as it went through the mail. And I did exactly what I'm doing right now. I just took my fingers and pressed them all and scored them. So yours already has those score lines in. I would suggest taking a bone folder now that you have these, and going back over those score lines to make sure they're really nice and creased. I didn't worry about that. I just wanted them to stand up to the mail. But before you put your boxes together, those creases on there really do make a difference. I'm also going to come up on that bottom one and crease that. And then we're going to put these together. So you are going to need a snips to put these together. And what you're going to do is take your snips or scissors. Again, this is the right way this is going to go. This is the score line at the bottom. You're going to cut in on each one of those fold lines up to the horizontal score line. So you're just making flaps. Let's I can get this one nice and straight. This one nice and straight. And then this very bottom little one, that little last part, we're going to cut up to score line. And then on this flap on the side, I'm going to cut down at an angle, just to make this box come together a little bit easier. So I hope you can see it has just a tiny little angle on there. And I'm going to angle the top piece of that flap the same way. Okay? Just when you fold this together, it helps it lay together a little bit better. So now this is going to fold up and make your little box just like that. When you fold this box up, my suggestion is wherever your seam is, so my seam is back here, that's the back of the box to me, I'm going to do my 2 side flaps, I'm going to do my back flap, and then I'm going to do the final one as my front flap. And what that does is it gives you a nice finished look here on the front. You can put them together in any order, but if you do anything else, you're going to not see that really nice smooth crease on the front. So that's how I put mine together. To put this together, you just want to add some adhesive to this flap. You want to be sure it's something strong. So a lot of times I use the Terran tape and I put it up right next to the seam on that smallest little flap here. You could also use Tombow glue for this, but you're going to need to hold it in place for a few minutes. Our Seal or our Seal Plus probably work fine too, but anything that's box-like, I usually end up using the Terran tape. So then you're just going to take your bone folder and go along it to burnish it, peel it up like that. And then what I'm going to do is flip it over. I'm going to fold this in. So this is one full section plus that flap flat. And then I'm going to come over from the opposite side with just one section and lay it down and let that come together nice and flat. That way I know my box is going to stay nice and even. Now this, obviously I didn't score it perfectly because this has a little bit of an overhang. Doesn't really matter. Once you put this together, that's not going to matter. So do not worry about things, again, that probably don't matter in life. The next thing I want to do is take that front flap. So where's my back seam? My back seam is over here. I can trim that off with my snips. In fact, I might just do that a little bit to show you in case yours is like that. Just take your snips while it's like this, before it's all the bottoms put together, and run your snips along that edge. And you can probably cut most of that off so it doesn't have an overhang. If I cut yours as poorly as I just did mine, if I scored it as poorly. Okay, so there's my back seam. That I always want to the back. So I'm going to do what I said. My first 2 pieces are going to go in, then my back one. That leaves, so my back is back here, that leaves this front flap. And what I want to do is come in on here and add some more of that Terran tape. So let's grab that one more time. And on that front flap, I'm going to add, I don't think I did this part for you guys. Sometimes I do, but I had so many, I was afraid I wasn't going to ever get them out. So I don't think I did. So I'm going to put one piece here close to that front edge, and then one a little further in to hold this flap down when we put it together. Take my bone folder one more time and go over those and burnish them. Pick up that backing on both of those. And then again, make sure I hold it up so it's straight, so that seam is to the back here. And then we're going to just fold that front piece down onto the bottom. And then you'll see how you have that really nice finished edge here on the front. So that's how you're going to put that box together. And then in your kit, you should have received a piece of ribbon. I think it's 6, maybe 7 or 8. I can't remember what I measured. I think I did 7, possibly 8 inches of it. This is our pecan pie ribbon. The last time I checked, it was, oh no, it was retired. So it is gone. So it's a retired product. It was on the last chance list. But I cut you off a section of that, and it actually matches the greenery boxes very nicely because they all have a little bit of that in them. But for this one, it doesn't. But it's a very neutral ribbon, so I'm still going to use it. So what you're going to do is you're going to take that seam side on the back and hold that so it is to the back. You are going to pinch this box in at the top and just flatten it. And you're going to flatten it down for probably 1.25 inches. And then you're going to take your ribbon. And now if you want to, you could clamp this together with clamping tweezers or something. I'm just holding it with my fingers. And you're just going to tie a knot with that ribbon. So I'm pulling in that ribbon right about at the bottom of where I flattened it out like that, pulling it tight. And I'm just doing a knot, not a bow. A knot, not a bow. Oh, I suppose I'm off camera on here. I should get back on. And pull in that tight. Okay, so you should have plenty of ribbon to tie that without a problem. That's your little bow on there. Of course, you could do this box with any color designer series paper and any kind of ribbon or trim. So that's what's cool about it. I am going to trim these off, my little edges, at an angle. I think I told you guys I lost my ribbon cutting scissors again. I took it to a class at a restaurant. It did not come home with me. I don't know where it is. The restaurant says it's not there. So this little snips doesn't work quite as well, but I think I can manage here. There we go. So we have our little angles. I'm still hoping it shows up. I'm going back there for another class soon, and I'm going to look around and talk to the manager. I don't know how I lost it, but I'm missing it terribly. Okay, so that is your little box, guys, and then you can fill these with whatever you like. So simple to put together. So great for any occasion. Fun for a little treat. So those are the 3D projects from this month. And then, of course, if you did place a larger order with me, you would have received a half a pack of a retired embellishment. So yay. So there is our project. I hope you like it. It is just a variation of a 2, 4, 6, 8 box, which I think I've done with you before. Very easy to find instructions for that online. But my goal is to get these recipes done and post them in the comments, hopefully today. Or if not today, at least get them typed up and I can post them when I get to convention, as long as my computer's working. So, okay guys, thank you for taking your time to be with me today. If you enjoyed today's class, just be sure to order from me in the month of March. As always, I would love to be your creative coach and demonstrator. If you have any questions at all, please reach out to me in the comments of this video or by email at crazystampinglady@gmail.com. These classes I always try to keep to under an hour, and we are right there, so that is fantastic. I will see you all soon. Bye-bye.